Money is one of the biggest motivators in modern Western civilization. It's seen as the scoreboard for how well you're doing in life, a sort of measure of your importance. It also exists in a system where a very small number of people control the vast majority of it, and most of them would prefer to keep it that way. In fact, some of the world's richest and most profitable corporations often pay their employees the smallest wages. Now, they are able to maintain the status quo for many reasons that I won't go into. Right now, we're only going to be focusing on one of them. You need to talk about wages. Okay. In America, it's often considered a cultural faux pas to discuss wages with other coworkers. Some companies have rules against discussing salaries. This is often called pay secrecy. It's a very nuanced issue with many factors behind it, so let's try if we can see it from a few differing perspectives, try to analyze it from all angles and, all viewpoints. And let's take a look at the pros and cons of not discussing wages. Okay, pro number one. If you aren't allowed to discuss wages, you won't know if your coworkers are making relatively less than you. Well, this is great. It avoids awkward conversations, and vice versa. If a coworker is getting paid more than you, it prevents you from finding out you're being underpaid for the same job. Wait, well, that's not a good thing. In fact, it's a bad thing. You could be losing thousands of dollars per year just because you never asked, resulting in you never asking for a raise and becoming fairly compensated. Well, problem number two. If it were no longer taboo to discuss wages, it would be an invasion of your privacy. That's right, I mean, who likes talking about money? Someone might overhear how much you're making and march up to the employer to demand a raise. Okay, maybe that's not a bad thing. In fact, if you deserve to be fairly compensated for your money, well, so do they. Okay, these arguments aren't very persuasive. Let's try a third angle on the matter. Pro number three. By not discussing your wages, you benefit the employer. That's right. A lack of transparency will ensure that the company will save money by keeping you from earning a fair salary. They can also easily offer a new hire far more cash without you making a fuss about it, even if you were working the same exact position. Okay, well, this isn't actually great for you. Unless you sleep better at night knowing the company is getting the better end of the bargain. Now, it may seem a little strange, but you're probably beginning to realize that the cultural reluctance to discuss wages does not actually exist to benefit you. It benefits the company. Well, pity, but there's nothing you can really do about it. I mean, maybe your employer's insinuated that you'll be reprimanded for not keeping pay secrecy. Except they can't. It's illegal. As a matter of fact, during the Obama administration, it was made a violation of national labor laws to prevent employees from punishing or firing their employees for discussing pay. At the beginning of this talk, I spoke about money being the driving force of modern Western civilization. About 30% of your life will be spent working from the ages of 18 to 65. Dedicating such a large fraction of your life to an entity that is actively yanking your chain is absolutely ludicrous. And at the very least, I believe that you and your fellow employees should be fairly compensated for it. You deserve it. I hope that for whatever job you currently have or are pursuing, that you take steps to ensure that you are being paid fairly. Because that's right.